Hey folks, somebody asked me in a comment why I always wear hats in my videos. I might have told you this before. My workbench is out in the garage and it gets cold out there. So I'm coming in and out all day. For instance, this morning I do some setups. I unpack some new guitars. Then I come in here, shoot some videos. I put some auctions up. Then I go back outside. So I tend to wear a lid. And then I don't have to brush my hair and look presentable for you fine people. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. I had one or two responses to my rather throwaway comment about the NAMM show, which is a ubiquitous biannual event that all and sundry are now seeking to attend and report back on. Whether you're a retailer, wholesaler, maker, manufacturer, vlogger, channel operator, designer, it doesn't matter. It seems to be, quite the buzz twice a year, and people clamor to get there and sort of do their own interpretation of events and new gear. I'm not one of those people, and I think I made a flippant remark about it being a wank fest. And a couple of people responded to that, so I thought I'd qualify it. I have actually worked for 3 fairly big guitar manufacturers for a few years. I also worked for violin makers, and so had various positions in the music instrument field, anywhere from sales to working on design teams to doing quality control. So I know a little bit about NAMM. When I was working for the major guitar companies, the only people who ever went to NAMM were the owners of the company, and I have to say they're the people that know the least about guitars or instruments, in my experience. The owners of the company and the upper management, all of the lowly salespeople would get left back at home to keep processing sales. So, on a lot of NAMM shows, you just don't get to go. It's only for the top tier, maybe even 2 or 3 people per company. Maybe there's a team to do grunt work like moving gear and stuff, but usually you only see the top tier of any particular company represented at those places. So it's already got a feel of, how shall I say, classicism to it, if you like. Now there are normal people walking around and taking in the products and the presentations. There's quite a mix of performers, even some rock stars, and then people in the industry. With the smaller companies, you have a better representative. The guy that made the guitar might actually be at the stall, which is always nice, because they just seem to represent the product more meaningfully to me, because they've been inside the thing and seen it born from raw wood. Whereas a lot of times when you're speaking to some upper management type who's just concerned with sales and popularity, there's sort of a almost non-spiritual attachment that comes across in their presentation. And I know that's hyperbolic and perhaps reading too much into it. However, I did actually sit down and watch a few NAMM videos from certain channels, who I'm not going to name because I don't think it's that important. And it's just amazing how many small to medium to big YouTube channels felt the need to be there, which is their prerogative. And some of them might have a reason beyond just sheer curiosity to be there anyway. Perhaps they have some sort of deal arranged with wholesalers or distributors, or they're hobnobbing with companies to offer their review services and to expose the gear to thousands of online viewers, which is, I suppose, something that companies are looking for. I mean, making gear is one thing. Getting it exposed, getting it out to the public, getting people to find out about it is the biggest problem in anything I do. So I know that it's a problem for any manufacturer or maker or designer. So you need those reviewers. So I'm not going to slight that. Of course, there are some of these big channel operators that go there to work out deals to either be loaned or given or buy at low costs gear to review, which they then resell or give away on their Patreon channels because they make enough revenue from those to make that happen. None of which I'm going to criticize. However, there is a marked difference in quality and content in those videos that I watched. The ones that I liked, there were a couple of videos, for instance, showing you the new versions or the new models of guitars from companies like Guild and Cordoba, who are the same thing now. Mostly I'm drawn to the acoustic and classical guitar new stuff, and so that was helpful. It's nice to see what's coming out. It's nice to see what models are available. A lot of times, when you watch these new model videos done by a certain vlogger, it's just all the same models in different colors. There's not a whole lot of new information to process. Those are a little less interesting to me, but I suppose that color and style is a big seller, so that information needs to get out as well. But a lot of the videos I found myself fast forwarding through or stopping halfway through and switching to another video. They just weren't interesting. For instance, there's a very, very well-known YouTuber. I'm not going to give you his name, but we all know this person. And he did his best of NAMM video, all the products he liked best. And what was disappointing to me is that there were no surprises. It was all major brand, fairly typical stuff. You could almost predict what it would be. So there were no little brands, there were no up-and-coming brands, there were no surprise products or anything like that. It was all just the usual stuff. And, the cynic in you starts asking, well, is this person affiliated with these brands? Or is there a reason why they're just pandering towards the big boys? They don't seem to have an adventurous spirit to go looking for something unique or different or, beyond the norm. And I saw he's not the only one. I saw 2 or 3 videos like that just seemed almost scripted. Like they're going down some list that they've been given. And the lack of curiosity in the alternatives is what sort of puts me off. I mean, once you go through 3 or 4 of the top brand guitars and it just keeps going, you realize that you're not going to get anything new. So at least myself, I just click off the video and find something else to watch. Now there were some people, and usually the smaller, lesser known channels, that did go out and seek out different, up-and-coming, unique companies and manufacturers and models that are trying to break through. There was some of that, which is, I think good. I mean, if I'm going to, I know what Gibson and Fender do. If I'm going to spend 25 minutes watching somebody's video, I'd rather be informed in new ways. So I just find that rather boring. Maybe you are interested in what color the SG is going to come out with this year for Epiphone or Gibson. Myself, not so much. I mean, I'll find that out through the year when they start trickling through the used market. But I just find the videos that seek out the new and the less obvious a bit more interesting. There's also a lot of backslapping, a lot of name dropping, a lot, sort of almost like people trying to impress you with their connections. Those videos I get tired of very, very quickly. Sort of sycophantic videos. This is my favorite guitar maker, gush, 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 for half an hour. Less interested in those, although we all have our favorites and our modicum of praise that we hand out. I do it too, but some people, I think it's more pronounced and a bit repetitive. And then there were 2 or 3 well-known music channels and vloggers, and also some sort of medium, not so well-known, that actually put out videos before NAMM, asking people what they want them to cover, which, the tendencies are want to criticize that because you're pandering, aren't you? You're just, what's going to come back. It's going to be the same stuff. You may get 1 or 2 interesting ideas from that, but by and large, you're appealing to populism. You're appealing to herd mentality, group tastes, and of course, the videos. If you look at the comments in the videos, it was the same 6, 7, 8 brands, and of course that person then, because they're so hungry for popularity and subscribers and monetization, they go out and they just absolutely cater towards mass appeal, and all their follow-up videos are all the popular stuff. I don't know, I'd almost rather see somebody go to the NAMM show and do their own thing and surprise me, educate me, show me stuff that I wouldn't know about, couldn't possibly find out about unless I tripped on one of their videos. That's the stuff that I find intriguing, and of course there are some people doing that, but not enough, and you really have to sort of slog through dozens of videos to find those nuggets of real interest. So to be honest with you, I get a bit tired after about an hour of NAMM videos, most of which I forwarded through, or sort of scanned the video and just clicked on the portions that look interesting, which is not a good way to watch YouTube videos, by the way. But I do scroll past a lot of playing too. You can only see so many people playing pentatonic scales and trying to look like rock stars and playing the same old bilge, So I mean that sounds really snobbish on my part, but boy, there has to be people out there that feel the same way. People who demo guitars, you can only watch them so often, right? Even good players, you kind of learn their tendencies as a player, and I don't want to pick on him, but I know how Rob Chapman plays. So when he starts playing his solos, I tend to move the dial along a little bit because I've heard it, and you can't get a lot of ideas about how a guitar or even an amp sounds through a YouTube video, especially when they're throwing reverb and all kinds of effects on the guitar. You just don't get a good idea of what it's supposed to sound like, what the build quality is. So there's my thing on NAMM. I guess it's necessary. We need it, and in some ways I bet it's fun for some people, and of course we all get information from it, but I'm glad when it's over. I'm glad when those videos thin out and we get back to normal presentation stuff, because a lot of people, they don't do enough with that experience. If you can afford to fly to Anaheim or wherever NAMM is, and take your gear and take 2 or 3 days off work and walk around and then present your findings on YouTube, you would think that you would have some scruples about exactly what you're presenting, but it just seems like there's an awful lot of throwaway videos posted. And I know that's subjective, and some people are going to watch this video and say, well, this is a throwaway video too. And it is, so chuck it away, and I'll see you next time.